Reg CC threshold changes. So it's the time has come once again to update our thresholds under the Expedited Funds Availability Act. If this seems like deja vu, we just went through this exercise back in 2019. It was actually June of 2019, the last time we went through an update here. But the new thresholds, basically, they're raising the thresholds for a lot of those minimums, like your, the 200. It used to be the $200 rule, then now it's the $225 rule. They're going to up that to $275. The $5,000 rule that became the $5,525 rule. Now it's going to be $6,725. So if you follow that link, it actually brings you to kind of a layout on where all of those numbers have changed. A couple of things just to refresh everybody's memory that anytime you have a change on your policy or your availability policy, it's required that you provide notice. So, if the change is adverse, which these are actually all in the customer's benefit. So it wouldn't be an adverse change. But under the rule, anytime you make an adverse change, it has to be 30 days before the effective date of the change. But if the change is beneficial to the customer, so in other words, you're giving them access to more funds, like what will happen with this rule, then you have to provide them notice still. It just has to be no later than 30 days after you implemented the change. So either way, you just know that there's going to be this change that you're going to have to send out a notice. The effective date of this rule it starts July 1st, 2025. And these numbers will be in place for another 5 years. Couple of just tips, because having just gone through this process, there were a few areas that where financial institutions struggled. It was with the things they weren't necessarily thinking of. Things like making sure that you update your policy and procedure. Yes, maybe your system will automatically update for those numbers, but you need to double check your policies and procedures, make sure if there's a reference to these numbers that they get updated. Update your new account disclosure. Again, a lot of you, it may be automatic, but you just want to make sure that that's happening. Your hold notices. If they are referencing specific amounts, make sure your hold notices are updating appropriately. Any lobby signage that you might have, there is a requirement that you do post things about your availability policy. Maybe you have specific numbers in there, maybe you don't, but if you do, you want to make sure those are updated. You'll want to send out that change in terms that we talked about. Make sure you get your timing right. The common mistake there is forgetting about when your statements are being cut. It's not like everybody's statement goes out on the same date for a lot of financial institutions. So making sure if you're calculating that 30-day window, that you're making sure that you're keeping track of when all of those final statements are going to be cut, so you don't have any timing issues for like a certain segment of your customers. You'll want to make sure that your system is updated appropriately. Just double check it before the go live date and that it is calculating things properly. And then you'll also want to train your personnel. So make sure that they are not telling folks that they have a certain amount that they'll be entitled to, but and that would be incorrect. Let them know that the change is coming so that when they're talking to consumers, they get that right. So again, it was something that we've just gone through before. Make sure we've done this relatively recently. It's just going to be updating those numbers. So